What is going on, everybody? It has been quite some time since I've uploaded, and I wanted to upload this. This was from last week's trials. It is Friday, April 20th, 420. So for all my potheads out there, I guess have fun today. I hope you left out milk and cookies for Snoop Dogg. Anyways, back to the subject at hand. This was last week's trials. I've been having a blast playing trials recently. I really got back into D2 and trials specifically back in January, and with the Go Fast update and everything else, like the removing radar for competitive, I've actually really enjoyed it. And today's video, obviously by the title, is we got DOSed, or some of our team got DOSed. Now, I have pretty convincing proof that it happened, so before people go, oh, how do you know, maybe just bad connection, just point this out. We played 80-something games collectively as a team all throughout the week, and you'll see right here, one of them just gets kicked right off the bat. And what I mean by getting kicked is out of the chat, off the game, had to restart his PlayStation, joins in a few minutes later, and this is when we'll find out that something's very fishy about these guys. So we decide to play regardless because we're just on a roll. We're not just going to leave and accept that loss. You know, I don't want to do that. I want to play against these guys because what's really happened with Destiny 2 as opposed to Destiny 1, and it happened in Destiny 1, but with the interface with Destiny 2's trials, with having to show everybody's loadout and it, you know, what they're running and all of that, it's cool, but it also gives you a ton of time to look up the team that you're playing. So for guys like me and my team, when we run this, we have enough time to look up and see who we're playing. Now, with the community being so dead right now, it's kind of easy to recognize names after a while. You recognize good streamers, you recognize, you know, good squads, but even then we like to look up and see if we're going to be able to just kind of relax for a game and play crazy, or if we're going to have to kind of sweat and play really conservative and just overall like play harder because we're not trying to lose. And nonetheless, when Shadow gets back online, he points out something fishy, and that is when we were looking at these guys' stats, we were like, well, they have 80-something flawlesses, but their KDs aren't that good, and this looks like an LFG group. Or what you would call a recov, where one of the guys on their team had a really bad ELO score, so with the way that they do the ELO scoring, he may be someone who can get them a lot of points because he brings down their average with his lower score. Nonetheless, Shadow comes back and says, hey, that was weird, I think I got DOSed. And a DOS, for those people who don't know, I mean, if you've been around Destiny or any other competitive game online, you would know that DOS is just a basic denial of service. All it means is, what they do is in a peer-to-peer game like this, where all of our information is being passed between each other, people who want a DOS can get our IP addresses, they can get their own IP address, and then they can pinpoint someone's IP, and they can send them millions of packets of information. And what it'll do is it'll overwhelm their router / modem and kick them offline. Now, you can be held offline for quite some time. You can have someone who continues on DOSing you for quite some time. I had a friend back in Call of Duty Diablo who got held off for days, or his connection was screwed up for days when a kid threatened to DOS him. So it is a very real thing. I'm surprised that it's happening in Destiny 2 because this game is, quite frankly, just on life support. I mean, I enjoy playing it just because there's not really many alternatives right now for that kind of FPS competitiveness. I mean, I guess Call of Duty just got a really big update, so maybe I'll check that out. But nonetheless, I enjoy playing it because I'm really trying to grind to get my ELO up, because that's just kind of the one ranking system that we have for Destiny 2. And so what you'll see here is we're handling them just fine. Now, it was a 3v4. One of their guys got booted. Now, I come to find out later from the third person in their group called Hastrix that they actually found these guys on the LFG, and they basically said, hey, we're guaranteeing a flawless run. The Fatia 989 and SRK 989. Remember those names because those are the two that are doing this. These are the culprits at hand. I know for a fact because I looked at their game histories on Destiny Tracker quite extensively, and I can tell you just from the few screenshots that I show you, go look for yourself. You will see that everything from Rumble to Quick Play to competitive to trials to the 6v6 Iron Banner, and even a couple hours ago on trials as I was looking at it, they are booting people, and my guess is that they are guaranteeing flawless runs on the LFG and possibly getting paid. I would assume getting paid, because why else would you DDoS other than to be a twerp? But anyways, those are the two culprits, and I messaged all four of them after. Now, only two of them respond. One of them being SRK 989, which we get into it a little bit, and I'll show you some of those screenshots. And then Hastrix, and he basically says these guys are guaranteeing flawless runs. Now, let me put this into perspective. A flawless run on Destiny 2 is not impossible. It's very easy to be carried there by a good team. There are things called single carries, double carries, and for someone who really wants to be crazy, do a triple carry. You're about to see our second teammate get kicked right here. It gets really laggy. But anyways, the best player in Trials right now, skill-wise, who plays for the most part doing double carries, is a guy named 1 Second Killer, OSK for short. OSK streams, and to put it in perspective, we've played him a few times, and we've beat him doing carries, and we've lost to him doing carries. But when someone like him can't guarantee a flawless run, and he's considered by many to be one of the best players, if not the best player in Trials right now, how are these two guys, who for all intents and purposes are nothing but average, stats-wise and everything else, able to guarantee flawless runs? That was the first fishy thing. Now, to go into a little bit more depth, the only time I've seen guaranteed carries is someone like OSK, who will do a single carry. He'll randomly select one person. He will get the stack of stacks, get 3 super crazy good players, and then they will run off stream and get people flawless. That is the closest thing to a guarantee you can get. And even he got DOSed this weekend by players, and you can see here I'm just shooting this guy, and it's very weird. So this is another thing. This hadn't happened the entire weekend. But when he told me that they were guaranteeing carries, it kind of made me realize that this is something that they're potentially profiting off of, but more importantly, something that they're doing pretty regularly. So at the end of this video, you will see that I screenshotted some of the conversations, as well as our game history report off of Destiny Tracker and a couple other ones. To put it in perspective, when you see DNFs next to people's names, that means did not finish. Now, it's common to see an entire team DNF at the same time because they just simply don't want to play out that game. OSK's done it before when he really doesn't want to play a sweaty game, when he just really wants to load or run a fun loadout. Or really bad teams will do it, not to insult people, but they'll realize that they're playing some really good players. They won't get a single kill in a round, and then they'll just DNF. But when you start seeing people load in one of the pictures it's a 3v4 entirely, and the other one is a situation where it's a 4v4 that these guys won, but 2 of the people on the other team DNF'd. That's pretty indicative that some of those people are getting booted. And look at our own. We have one who DNF'd and then another one who doesn't even show up in the game history report, which that was Shadow, who got kicked at the very beginning. So I want to post this to make these guys infamous. I don't condone cheating. I think it's ridiculous, especially on a game like this where the stakes aren't even that high. You know, you're just trying to make money off of people who are desperate for Trials gear, maybe, but even then that's not that important. So I just really don't understand the purpose of it. I don't know if Hastrix knew about it the entire time. He seemed pretty quick to rat those guys out, but those guys are the ones who are continuously doing it on LFG with multiple people and across multiple different game modes. So I'm going to upload this to Bungie's website. Their TOS, their terms of service, says you can't name blast people for cheating, but at this point I don't really care. I'm not going to put it in the description or the actual post on the forum, but I will put it on the description here, just because I want people to be aware that these guys are out there. If Bungie's not going to ultimately do anything, not to knock them, but it's like one of those, if I can't expect them to do anything, I ultimately want the community to kind of be self-aware anyway. So this is just a heads up for any of you who are out there. If you run into these guys, be aware that they really only run games if they're playing absolute garbage players, like people who probably hardly ever play PvP. Now right here we get the sweet 4-0 because there's no radar in competitive, so I could just hide. I didn't really care. You'll see here they leave right away. It's just me and Champagne in the lobby right now, and you know, it is what it is. These guys still couldn't win while they were trying to cheat, so I guess that's kind of karma hitting them in the face. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. You know, wanted to make these cheaters well known, you know, on this small channel, but hopefully this video gets shopped around, because be aware that these guys are out there, and since Bungie is really kind of lax on bringing down the ban hammer, I kind of think that it's up to the community to kind of make everyone else aware. So enjoy the screenshots. You know, these guys are ridiculous. You see him there. He tries to get me in a match so he can DOS me, which I thought was funny. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, SRK989 and Fatia989, all of their names are going to be in the description. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy Trials. Enjoy whatever game you're playing. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Stay focused, stay humble, stay driven. And I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.